on, Paula, move that bike.
No, I'm taking my time. I want to enjoy this beautiful scenery.
I tell you, what a slowpoke. Hello, I'm Mark Wolf.
And I'm Paula McClure. Welcome to Lifestyle Magazine, where we'll show you the latest in the world of health and fitness.
On this edition of our show, we'll show you how over-exercising can be too much of a good thing.
And you'll learn how to protect yourself from painful neck and back injuries.
Chef David Jackson prepares 2 tasty recipes for health-conscious beef lovers.
And we'll give you some tips on how to have a safe and relaxing ride in the country.
All this and more coming your way on Lifestyle Magazine.
I'm gone.
I've changed her too.
This ESPN program is brought to you by Crest, the dentist's choice for fighting cavities. Crest with Fluorostat.
I tell you, mountain biking is really becoming the rage. Everyone's out with a helmet and gloves, and they're hitting the trail.
I think one of the reasons why it's become such a popular form of exercise is because it allows you to get away from all the noise and the traffic and a chance to see the countryside a bit, too.
Well, too much exercise can be a bad thing. Some people are becoming obsessed with exercise and working out, and that can cause physical and mental exhaustion.
So let's check your exercise attitude.
People can become somewhat addicted to exercise and doing too much of it. Exercise is wonderful, but as with most of Americans, what we do is we tend to do too much of a good thing.
Exercise, exercise, exercise. Some people can't get enough of it. Then again, they can. Overtraining, working out so hard you hurt yourself. In today's hard driving culture, it's an easy thing to do. Fitness expert Mitchell Freed sees it all the time.
If people come in and will do something like the Stairmaster day after day after day, same level, 30 minutes every day, and they're just not getting the results. Oh man, I saw wonderful results for 2 months, now I'm not seeing anything. Well, try something different, your body's used to that.
Muscles gain strength and flexibility by contracting, extending, contracting, extending, and then relaxing. Overtaxing muscles, not providing a rest component, can result in muscle fatigue and poor performance. Personal trainer Doug Vasiliadis says overtraining isn't a problem for most people, but it can be really dangerous for some.
Fight strong now, fight.
Putting in too many miles, in the case of a runner, could lead to orthopedic problems like ankle problems, shin problems, knee problems, compression type of situations in their back. Plus, there are psychological effects of overtraining.
Runners aren't the only ones who can experience the psychological effects of too much exercise. Those effects include fatigue, irritability, a change in sleep patterns. If you find yourself fed up with your regular workout and you're not seeing a change, it might be time to take a rest.
As Americans, we think that, if 1 is good, then 5 is wonderful. But it doesn't always work that way. Yes, 2 days of exercise is much better than 1, 3 days is better than 2, but there comes a point where there's too much. Your body does need some rest. You've got to let it repair itself.
Step on it.
If you're experiencing nagging little injuries that keep happening, or you notice yourself getting clumsy in everyday activities, your body is trying to tell you something. It's fed up, and it wants you to give it a break.
The human machine is almost a perfect mechanism. It can tell you when there's a problem occurring with it. And sleep is wonderful to help alleviate a lot of those problems. It shuts the mechanism down, lets everything repair.
It's okay to let yourself take a break. In fact, fitness experts recommend it. They say if you notice the warning signs, you should take a week off no matter what. Michelle Cahoe is a physical therapist. She sees the damage overtraining can do.
Overtraining is a common problem. I think it's probably we're becoming more aware of it as we find people who are becoming more serious and more involved in exercise. And that type A behavior, which is so admirable in a work situation, isn't quite so admirable when you get to a workout situation. And these people, instead of doing what's a safe load or a safe workout, are overdoing it.
Professional trainers like Pat McCloskey say that whether you're just beginning or a serious athlete, the key to seeing improvements in your strength and endurance isn't pushing yourself to the limit. The answer is temperance and patience.
One thing people often forget, though, especially as they get more and more intense, they get the attitude that more is better. And unfortunately, there's a definite rest component. Your body is exposed to the exercise, and then it has to rest to recover. Otherwise, the exercise doesn't do you any good.
It's not important for you to do something every day. If you want to do something every day, do different kinds of things. Maybe one day jog, the next day swim, or even alternating weight training with cardiovascular or aerobic kind of exercises. But vary the routine.
Most people do too little exercise, not enough, but fortunately that's changing.
Well, whether you're an experienced athlete or a novice, spare yourself aches and injury.
By stretching out before you exercise, and make sure you warm up properly too.
Let your body cool down slowly after a workout, and above all, don't push yourself. That's how sports injuries happen.
Follow those guidelines and they won't happen to you. We have more tips on how to avoid injuries when we come back on Lifestyle Magazine.
Around me.
Okay.
Okay.
As in life itself, the key to exercise is moderation.
Well, another key is prevention, like these helmets that are designed to safeguard you from neck and spine injury.
And do you realize that the spine is one of the most vulnerable parts of the human anatomy? And 80% of the general public at one time or another will suffer from back pain as a result of spinal injuries. But it doesn't have to be that way. Take a look at this.
The anatomy of the spine is very complex. It consists of 3 segments. The cervical spine, which comprises the neck, the thoracic spine, which supports the chest, and the lumbar spine, which is located in the lower back. The spine is made up of vertebrae that are separated by discs that operate as cushion material.
If you're in excellent shape aerobically and you have the proper trunk strength, your risk of injury is really relatively small. And for the weekend athlete, usually neither one of those things are true. We think the rotational sports have a higher incidence of problems than the non-rotational sports because your spine is not as well designed, especially your lumbar spine, to resist those rotational loads. Tennis, golf, bowling, aerobics with rotational components to the aerobic types of activities frequently are in the office all the time.
The most common back injury to the adult weekend athlete is the simple muscle strain, which usually occurs in the lower back. This is caused by overuse, poor technique, fatigue, or a combination of all 3. The athlete must stay flexible and must develop strong abdominal muscles.
People who have weak abdominal muscles, all right, which results in that bear belly, that pot belly look, okay, that weight in the front is shifting your pelvis this way, okay? And so those motions of pulling and shifting your pelvis are causing your spine to curve, and your lower back muscles are trying to stabilize that spine, and as a result, they go into muscle spasm, which is a continuous muscle contraction without a relaxation, and that is where your pain is coming from.
A lot of our athletes will come in day one and say, I have some type of back problem. One of the first things we ask them to do is turn over, bend over, and touch their toes, look for flexibility, and the majority of them can't. Consequently, flexibility has a lot to do with lower back pain. Not only the flexibility of the legs, but flexibility in the lower back. Or maybe they might have that little extra gut up in front, which creates stress on the lower back. So a lot of these problems can be taken care of by just normal, healthy type maintenance.
Frequently in football, an individual can have their neck positioned so that there is traction put on the nerve root.
Basically, a heavy blow to the neck, if applied directly, can damage the spinal cord. Minor nerve damage occurs more frequently and produces a feeling of numbness, burning, or tingling sensation in the upper body. Hence the name burners or stingers for this condition. They are a relatively common source of problem for the football player because the neck is put in an unnatural position with a lot of force. Of course, injuries to the neck are not just part of football. They are just as prevalent in recreational sports. Unfortunately, the weakened athlete doesn't have a trainer or a team physician that can diagnose the neck injury. So what should you do if you hurt your neck?
Obviously, one can get injured severely as a weekend athlete, going up for a rebound, having your legs cut out from underneath you. So if there's question, it's always better to err on the side of being overcautious, not to manipulate someone's neck, not to put them in a position where you don't have their neck protected. If you have a minor strain, that individual's going to know it pretty much. But if there's a lot of neck spasm and they're having severe pain in their neck, then that individual needs to be treated as if he does have an unstable neck.
The way an untrained individual should treat a suspected serious injury to the neck is not to treat it at all. Call a paramedic unit or a doctor. A more serious injury that can occur to the spine is called a herniated disc.
A herniated disc is a rupture of the outer covering of the disc.
If you rupture a disc, you will feel a sharp pain and it will restrict your ability to move. The spine is usually treated with rest, but on occasion surgery is required. This surgery is called a laminectomy. The surgeon will remove a part of the roof of the spine and remove the herniated disc.
There's no foolproof method to prevent one from having a herniated disc.
The spine, neck, and back are extremely vulnerable to injury, so care must be taken when playing sports. Common sense will keep you in the game.
Isn't it great that sit-ups help your lower back and they even tighten the tummy muscles too?
A strong stomach always leads to a strong back, but all this bike riding leads to an empty stomach.
Oh, don't you want a granola bar? You can have one of mine.
Oh, no, I really feel like some real food.
Some real food? Well, then obviously you're ready for Chef David Jackson, who's going to whip up a beefy new meal.
Did you know that certain cuts of beef, like flank steak or round, have the same amount of fat and cholesterol as ground turkey meat? Well, it's true. Commercially ground turkey has a high percentage of dark meat, which has the same amount of fat as round steak. So if you like beef, there's no reason why you can't enjoy it now and then